Very mysterious. There's no telling who or what will be waiting for us in that chantry. Only one way to find out.
Magister Alexius wishes only mages to remain in Redcliffe. He will approve of you. He does not approve of me. Many villagers have already left to escape his ire.
What does the Magister have against you?
He does not like to be reminded of what mages can become. He says all Tranquil must leave Redcliffe, but who would take us in?
I didn't realize. From your speech, I should have recognized you as Tranquil.
Yes, my talent for magic was insufficient to protect me from demons. Rather than risk me becoming possessed, the Circle removed my connection to the Fade. My magic is gone, along with my dreams and desires. Those now in Redcliffe prefer not to see us.
How long have Devinters been here?
Magister Alexius arrived at nightfall, 2 days after we retreated from the Temple of Sacred Ashes. He forced anyone without magic out of the castle, save those he required to serve him. Even the Arl was sent away.
This village has a history with mages, doesn't it? Do you know the details?
During the last blight, the Arl of Redcliffe became ill. Not even the efforts of the Circle could save him. His young son, who was an undiscovered mage, made a deal with a demon to keep the Arl from death. The boy became an abomination. Through him, each night, the demon raised armies of corpses to assault the village. The hero of Ferelden defeated the demon and stopped the undead hordes from destroying Redcliffe.
Farewell, then.
One moment. You are a member of the Inquisition, are you not? I am an alchemist. You must require potions. If the Magister will not have me here, perhaps I can offer my services.
We would be delighted to have you working for the Inquisition.
Thank you. While one lives, it is good to believe there is still a use for one's talents.
I remember you. You were a few years ahead of me in the Ostwick Circle. Really come up in the world, right? Marked by Andraste, ordering Templars about. Must be nice.
And you are...
Linnea. I'm not surprised you don't remember me. You were the perfect apprentice, and I barely passed my harrowing. You were the one the first enchanter chose to send to stop the Conclave. I was the one he left here. You're the chosen of Andraste, and I'm just me.
You'd rather bow to Tevinter than join the Inquisition.
Don't tell me you bought the Chantry's lies about how evil Tevinter is. It's just because they're ruled by mages. No one wants us to look at them and say their mages are free and the world hasn't ended.
Don't Magisters summon demons and practice human sacrifice?
The Chantry says whatever they think will scare us. What's wrong with blood magic? People don't like the idea of us controlling their thoughts, but they have no problem with us throwing fireballs in their wars. In Tevinter, the mages police themselves. It works.
Why does everyone think we're part of the Chantry? We left the Chantry. They hate us.
Right. And I'm the Empress of Orlais.
Inquisition, huh? I wish to holy Andraste you'd gotten here sooner. These Tevinters make my shoulder blades itch.
You're not happy with this new alliance?
Something's not right about that lot. They're not like us. Magic or no, I'd rather count myself among decent folk than stand with magisters.
How did the Grand Enchanter end up working with Tevinter?
1 minute, we were bracing for the Templars to attack. The next, we had a Magister ally. It was a stroke of luck that's given us an edge. In a way. Out of the frying pan.
Who are you?
Name's Tolwyn. Formerly of the Circle of Magi in Hosberg. Lived my whole life there. Since I was 10 years old and came into my magic. 3 meals a day. Quality education. A roof over my head. If you're not summoning demons, a mage tower's a fine place to be.
If you were happy in the Circle, why are you here with the rebels?
We're all rebels now. The vote sorted that. The majority wanted to dissolve the circles. The rest of us went with them or were cut loose. I figured I'm better off with my fellow mages than on my own.
Goodbye.
Be careful. The Tevinters likely aren't happy you're asking questions.
Let me know if you find one.
Good day to you, my child.
Are you working for the Mage Rebellion?
Mages are children of the Maker, no less than the rest of us. They struggle no less with questions of faith.
Does that mean you support their freedom?
Given a choice between the Circle and death, most mages willingly gave up some small freedoms for safety. But the pendulum swings, and now it seems any restraint is too much. I think they should have a chance to prove they deserve freedom.
I don't see any other priests in the village. Where is everybody?
The Magister had the others escorted out for their own safety, but I refused. He can throw me out if he wants. Until then, I tend to my flock.
What are your feelings on the mages working with Tevinter?
The Imperium burned on Draste Day. Since then, we have led 4 exalted marches against them. Yet in all those marches, they still acknowledged the Maker. Now I speak of him and the Magisters laugh. Something has happened, and I dread to learn what.
I will leave you to your duties.
Maker speed you, my child.
Good. You're finally here. Now help me close this, would you? Fascinating. How does that work exactly? You don't even know, do you? You just wiggle your fingers and boom. Rift closes.
Who are you?
Ah, getting ahead of myself again, I see. Dorian of House Parvus, most recently of Minrathous. How do you do?
Another Tevinter. Be cautious with this one.
Suspicious friends you have here. Magister Alexius was once my mentor, so my assistance should be valuable, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Are you a Magister?
All right, let's say this once. I'm a mage from Tevinter, but not a member of the Magisterium. I know Southerners use the terms interchangeably, but that only makes you sound like barbarians.
I was expecting Felix to be here.
I'm sure he's on his way. He was to give you the note, then meet us here after ditching his father.
Alexius couldn't jump to Felix's side fast enough when he pretended to be faint. Is something wrong with him?
He's had some lingering illness for months. Felix is an only child, and Alexius is being a mother hen, most likely.
Are you the one who sent that note, then?
I am. Someone had to warn you after all. Look, you must know there's danger. That should be obvious even without the note. Let's start with Alexius claiming the allegiance of the mage rebels out from under you. As if by magic, yes? Which is exactly right. To reach Redcliffe, before the Inquisition, Alexius distorted time itself.
He arranged it so he could arrive here just after the Divine died.
You catch on quick.
That is fascinating if true, and almost certainly dangerous.
The rift you closed here. You saw how it twisted time around itself, sped some things up and slowed others down. Soon, there will be more like it, and they'll appear further and further away from Redcliffe. The magic Alexius is using is wildly unstable, and it's unraveling the world.
I'd like more proof than magical time control. Go with it.
I know what I'm talking about. I helped develop this magic. When I was still his apprentice, it was pure theory. Alexius could never get it to work. What I don't understand is why he's doing it, ripping time to shreds just to gain a few hundred lackeys.
He didn't do it for them.
Took you long enough. Is he getting suspicious?
No, but I shouldn't have played the illness card. I thought he'd be fussing over me all day. My father's joined a cult, Tevinter Supremacists. They call themselves Venatori. And I can tell you one thing. Whatever he's done for them, he's done it to get to you.
Why would he rearrange time and indenture the Mage Rebellion just to get to me?
They're obsessed with you, but I don't know why. Perhaps because you survived the Temple of Sacred Ashes.
You can close the rifts. Maybe there's a connection. Or they see you as a threat.
If the Venatori are behind those rifts or the breach in the sky, they're even worse than I thought.
Alexius is your father. Why are you working against him?
For the same reason Dorian works against him. I love my father, and I love my country. But this? Cults? Time magic? What he's doing now is madness. For his own sake, you have to stop him.
It would also be nice if he didn't rip a hole in time. There's already a hole in the sky.
I'm not afraid of Alexius.
You know you're his target. Expecting the trap is the first step in turning it to your advantage. I can't stay in Redcliffe. Alexius doesn't know I'm here, and I want to keep it that way for now. But whenever you're ready to deal with him, I want to be there. I'll be in touch. Oh, and Felix, try not to get yourself killed.
There are worse things than dying, Dorian.
Do we believe that both Alexius's son and apprentice are turning on him? It seems someone wants to trap us either way.
Their willingness to betray raises the question of whether they will betray us.
Good day. You're from the Inquisition. I didn't think you'd still be here. Were you really looking to ally with us?
Is Is that so hard to believe?
Everyone blames us. The Templars left the Chantry too. That's worse, isn't it? They took an oath. Yet everyone calls it the Mage Rebellion. We're the ones they hate. What choice did we have? Stay and be slaves?
Sometimes to achieve the world one desires, one must take regrettable measures.
I hope you can do something. Tying ourselves to Tevinter. That can't be the right way to end this.
You don't approve of the Grand Enchanter's decision?
I was there when we voted to leave the Circle. She really seemed to care what we wanted. She was ready to rebel, but she wasn't going to unless it was the will of all mages. It's hard to believe she'd go behind our backs and sell us to the Magisters.
How long has Magister Alexius been here?
A day or two after. After the Conclave, he arrived. Come to save us from the wrath of the Templars, they said. But this doesn't feel like safety.
You seem young to be part of this.
I'm Lysas. I came into my magic when I was 9 years old. Templars came into the alienage and took me to the Circle. They didn't even let me say goodbye. It's not right. I studied hard. I passed my harrowing. I sing the chant. But I'll be locked up for the rest of my life.
Take care of yourself. There's something strange going on.
I never thought the Grand Enchanter would swear to a Magister.
Make it be with you.
Good day.
The Venatori have made the Oculara and are using them to search for something. Something like those old shards, presumably.
Every ocularum is made from the skull of a tranquil?
I figured they'd fled with the rebel mages. Poor bastards.
I had wondered what had become of them when the mages rebelled. What a tragic waste.
I had wondered where they had gone. I should have looked harder.
You should talk to the Magister. You're the rightful heir to Redcliffe. In Tevinter, they would never take that away just because you're a mage.
After what I did, I'm not even sure I should be here.
It's not your fault. Could have happened to any of us.
That doesn't help. That's why people hate us.
But
Are you Connor?
You've heard the story, I guess. I can't believe King Alistair thought Redcliffe was the right place to send the mages. I mean, he grew up here. Did he think they would just forget what I did to them?
You're not in favor of the alliance with Tevinter.
Alliance? Is that what they're calling it? That Magister threw my uncle out into the street. He signed us into servitude. This is my home. Redcliffe, Ferelden. No matter what evils I've done, I would never have invited Tevinter here.
You were behind the siege of Redcliffe 10 years ago.
That's me. The boy with Redcliffe's blood on his hands.
Weren't you possessed? It wasn't you who did those things.
Wasn't it? I let the demon in. Sometimes when I dream, I remember what happened. I see the death and destruction, and it's me. It's all me.
Why isn't Arl Eamon in power anymore?
After the Landsmeet, he stayed in Denerim. I couldn't be his heir, not after what happened. So eventually he passed the title to Uncle Tegan.
How did you end up in the Mage Rebellion?
I was living in the Ferelden Tower when the Circles dissolved. I voted against it, but... at first it seemed all right. No one was summoning demons. They just wanted to oversee themselves. But then the Magister came, and... it's wrong what they do in Tevinter. We are monsters. We need to be controlled. If it wasn't for me, every family in this village wouldn't be missing a son, a daughter, a spouse.
I need to be going.
Please, talk some sense into the Grand Enchanter. Selling out to the Imperium won't win us any friends. We have to find a way to make peace.
Good day.
Your son?
It's just what I heard. Thank you again, my friend.
No man needs statues so great as those whose remnants lie toppled in these hills. These statues come from ancient dreams of blood and bone, lost to the memory of man. Be wary of them.
There must be something here.
I've news, sir.
What is it?
See for yourself, sir. Nothing to report, sir. Nothing to report, sir.
Chargers! Stand down! Krim! How'd we do?
5 or 6 wounded, Chief. No dead.
That's what I like to hear. Let the throat cutters finish up, then break out the casks. So, you're with the Inquisition, huh? Glad you could make it. Come on, have a seat. Drinks are coming.
Iron Bull, I presume.
Yeah, the horns usually give it away. I assume you remember Cremisius Aclassi, my lieutenant.
Good to see you again. Throat cutters are done, Chief.
Already? Have him check again. I don't want any of those Tevinter bastards getting away. No offense, Krem.
None taken. At least a bastard knows who his mother was. Puts him one up on you Canary, right?
So, you've seen us fight. We're expensive, but we're worth it. And I'm sure the Inquisition can afford us.
How much is this going to cost me exactly?
Wouldn't cost you anything personally. Unless you want to buy drinks later. Your ambassador, what's her name? Josephine. We'd go through her and get the payments set up. Gold will take care of itself. Don't worry about that. All that matters is we're worth it.
The Chargers seem like an excellent company.
They are, but you're not just getting the boys. You're getting me. You need a frontline bodyguard. I'm your man. Whatever it is. Demons? Dragons? The bigger the better. And there's one other thing. Might be useful. Might piss you off. Ever hear of the Ben Hasra?
They're a Qunari organization, right? The equivalent of their guards and city watch.
I'd go closer to spies. But yeah, that's them. Or, well, us. The Ben Hasrath are concerned about the breach. Magic out of control like that could cause trouble everywhere. I've been ordered to join the Inquisition, get close to the people in charge, and send reports on what's happening. But I also get reports from Ben Hasrath agents all over Orlais. You sign me on, I'll share them with your people.
You're a Qunari spy, and you just told me.
Whatever happened at that conclave thing, it's bad. Someone needs to get that breach closed. So whatever I am, I'm on your side.
You still could have hidden what you are.
From something called the Inquisition. I'd have been tipped sooner or later. Better you hear it right up front from me.
What would you send home in these reports of yours?
Enough to keep my superiors happy. Nothing that'll compromise your operations. The Qunari want to know if they need to launch an invasion to stop the whole damn world from falling apart. You let me send word of what you're doing, it'll put some minds at ease. That's good for everyone.
What's in these Ben Hasrath reports you're offering to share?
Enemy movements, suspicious activity, intriguing gossip. It's a bit of everything. Alone they're not much, but if your spy master is worth a damn, she'll put him to good use.
She?
I did a little research. Plus, I've always had a weakness for redheads.
You run your reports past Liliana before sending them. You send nothing she doesn't approve. If this turns out to be a trick, or if your reports compromise the Inquisition, Cassandra will eat you alive.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Krem, tell the men to finish drinking on the road. The Chargers just got hired.
What about the casks, Chief? We just opened them up with axes.
Find some way to seal them. You're Tevinter, right? Try blood magic. We'll meet you back at Haven.
Nothing to report, sir. Do you need something?
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
But what are Seekers exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine. And not even her, truthfully.
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the Divine's duty. But she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing to, even though they abandoned everything they stood for to avoid it. In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged, but not by their own hands.
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training. We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful considering our role. Seekers can gain other gifts, so that depends on the individual.
What kind of gifts do you have?
I can set delirium within a person's blood aflame. Both mages and Templars bend before my will. Some Seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a Seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control. It was felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier. But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified. If we'd been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes.
What happened couldn't be avoided. It started long ago.
We weren't helpless. We had the power to act and chose not to. When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it. We would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
Is the vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people. We empty ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
Was it some kind of magic?
I don't fully understand it, to be honest. If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
I've no more questions.
You traveled some distance to reach Haven. You're from the Circle in Ostwick?
I was. It's exciting, being away from that life, being somewhere new. Maybe that's selfish, given what's happened.
No, it's only fair, I suppose. We are grateful for your assistance.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
If you need insight into what the Order is doing now, I'm afraid I can't offer more than you already know. Anything else, I will answer as best I can.
Why did you join the Order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars at our local chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The Knight Captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
13? That's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the Order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The Order sees you trained and educated first.
What about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course. But there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
Prior to the Conclave, I'd only encountered Templars in the Circle. Do they do anything besides guard mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the Order left the Chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates, or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
What do you think of mages? Are they all a threat?
I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so here. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession, at least.
I know how I spent my time in the Circle. But what was a typical day for a Templar?
Typical? The last time I was in a circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that, then?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's howling, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time, you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
We would spend all day with Templars, and yet they rarely spoke to us.
A habit often mistaken for coldness, I'm sure. But we are expected to keep a certain distance from our charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, you must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Thedas. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Do you enjoy your training?
I wanted to learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the Chant of Transfigurations wasn't the most exciting task. I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
The Templars take vows. I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages, that sort of thing.
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter, your first draft of lyrium and its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Should you require anything, I'll be here.
Can I help you with anything?
I'd like to know more about the Iron Bull.
The Chief. Last time I met him, he saved my life. I never thought I'd work for a Canary, but he grows on you. He's not like any commander I've ever worked for. That's for damn sure.
How's Iron Bull as a commander?
If you know what you're doing and hold up your end, he's easy. He doesn't accept any less. If he keeps us alive, he leads from the front, and if you've an idea that'll win the fight, he listens. I've seen bands whose captains had to prove they were swinging the biggest sword. Bull isn't like that. The charges might give him more lip than you'd expect, but every one of us would lay down our lives for the big ass.
How did a Tevinter soldier wind up in a Canary spy's mercenary company?
I wasn't a soldier at the time. I was in some trouble, trying to flee to Vinter. A Tribune and his men caught me in a border town tavern. They meant to make an example of me. Bull killed them. Gave up his eye doing it. Patched me up and asked if I was looking for work. I've been putting up with his jokes ever since.
That's how he lost the eye.
Yes. The guards had me on the tavern floor when Bull came inside and yelled for them to stop. One of them saw trouble coming and figured he'd finish me off. The guard had a flare. Bull put himself between me and the blow. Bighorned idiot. Didn't even know me.
Is it strange to work for Kunari?
He hasn't tried to convert us to the Qun, if that's what you're asking. Bull's charges don't care who you light a candle for, so long as your shield stays up. If he hadn't told me he was Ben Hasrath, I'd have thought he'd left that life behind.
I didn't expect he'd tell you all that he was a spy.
Not the whole band, but those who've been around long enough to trust. He figures most of us would find out sooner or later, and it should come from him. Eyes to eye, he says. It's never messed up a job. He just writes letters back home. Lots of the boys write letters back home.
We'll talk later.
They've got good form. Cullen's putting his Templar training to good use.
Did Cullen tell you he was a Templar? He's not wearing the armor.
He didn't have to. Might not be a Templar shield, but it's a Templar holding it. He angles the shield just a bit down. Helps direct fire or acid away, so it doesn't spray right into your face. Kunari learned the same thing when we trained to fight Tevinter mages. Your Templar's doing good work.
You sound like you want to head down there and give the troops some pointers.
Nah, I'm no good at command unless I know who my guys are sleeping with and what they like to drink. Inquisition's already too large for that. The charges are big enough for me. Biggest problem for the Inquisition right now isn't on the front line. It's at the top. You've got no leader, no Inquisitor.
The Inquisition has done all right so far without an Inquisitor.
That's because all we've needed so far is damage control, reaction. A group can handle that. Once you've sealed the breach, it's gonna be time to make decisions. Someone's gonna have to step up. Who knows? Maybe you sealed the breach. The Chantry gets off its ass and all those soldiers go home and get fat.
You think?
It could happen. It won't, but it could.
Have you seen the horses Master Dennis sent the Inquisition? They're magnificent.
Better than what you ride in Arnsberg?
Make her look at it. So much easier to ignore when it's far away. And to actually walk out of it. To be that close.
It's right there. We could take a trip, if you're that curious.
I'm gonna have to decline. At least until I learn more about it. The breach, the Divine's death, the Wardens. It doesn't make sense. There's so much we don't know.
Your experience with the Wardens will certainly be useful.
Mostly the treaties, I expect. Old parchments you're welcome to. What about you? How do you fit into all this?
It's been a whirlwind. It's hard to say where I fit.
I guess we'll have to figure that out. For me, I'll be satisfied so long as we find the bastards that killed the Divine. They owe us some answers. I've heard rumors of abandoned Warden camps all over these parts. If we have time, I'd like to take a look. See if there's anything we can salvage.
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There is still Darkspawn. Just because we killed so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden, on my own, like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
So you have no idea where the rest of the Wardens are?
Do you find that odd? The Blight is over. We don't need an organized force. And orders don't change much from day to day. For the last 1,000 years or so, it's been just find Darkspawn, kill them, repeat as necessary.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me.
Now that we've got better mounts, if you like, I can show you a few tricks to get more out of them.
A scout in the hinterland saw the Herald of Andraste. Said he's seen them and stopped them.
You need anything here? Things safe, eh?
Need something?
Carry on.
Chasing the Lord Seeker, I hear. Anyone who thinks they need Lord in front of the name, that's bad. Bet he's got a portrait taller than he is. That's your first clue to a total arse. Fact.
What do you think about the people who have gathered?
Which? The ones who do things or the ones who give orders?
Thoughts about Cassandra?
Not as buttoned up as she plays, right? Tough, though. I'd stand behind her in front of anything.
What about Solus?
Solus? His head's crammed up 1,000 years ago.
Anything to say about Varric?
Varric? Too clever. Always saying something, but never saying it straight.
What do you think about our spy master, ambassador, and commander?
Liliana is pretty in places. Swear I've seen her, too. Or heard she used to play. But that'd be mad. Now, Josephine, she's as good at humbling her kind as I am. Just with less mess. Knows her business, if you have to have it. And Cullen, I suppose if you want a jackboot, you get a big one so you can grow into it. Nice hair, though.
What's your opinion of Vivienne?
She's a bitch, but she knows. She better.
Thoughts on Iron Bull?
He makes me wonder about things. I mean, what do the women look like? Woof.
Any thoughts about Warden Blackwall?
He's too good, right? I'd like to see him out of that uniform. Not like that.
We'll talk later.
Good, right? I'll be here.
Good day to you, Herald of Andraste.
Greetings. We'll talk later. Goodbye.
nothing about the disappearance of the Grey Wardens. It's a disappointment. I am, however, glad that he is with us, even if he was not what I expected. He seems to be a good man, and his experience will be an asset to the Inquisition. As for the other Wardens, I suppose we will have to keep looking.
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
I'll leave you to your work.
Thanks for checking anyway.
I don't understand. Even the Templars have...
Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The Circle is an idea, my dear. And an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage. Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the Circle in two. The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
If you lead all the loyalists, why are you only First Enchanter and not Grand Enchanter?
Grand Enchanters are elected, and since there are no First Enchanters besides myself, no vote can be held. I could name myself Grand Enchanter, but the title holds no meaning now. When the circles are restored, that will change.
I've never been to the Montsimard Circle. What was it like?
A place of great history and tradition, with the greatest library of magical history outside of the Imperium. It was deeply involved in the Great Game, as you might expect of anyone living in Orlais. The mages there were quite competitive, but it was stimulating to be always pushed to exceed the abilities of my peers.
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
You, my dear, are far too wise not to have realized that many of our colleagues live with their eyes closed. Safe from the world inside their towers, they thought only of the Templars and their own resentment. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
quickened breath does the darkness creep.
Thank you for all
It is
that you
the
are doing to
whisper
help.
The lie.
The apothecary would like to know why you need so
What may
much
I do
death.
for you? To do my job.
Oh, I'll just tell him that, Enchanter.
I'm not
What
an
do the people
enchanter,
make of us?
apprentice.
We've gathered many favors
Tell
among
Adon
the
I need
nobility.
that death route.
They will be gently reminded of this.
Let's speak later.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Heaven has been filled with silence. I knew then, and crossed my heart with shame.
At your service.
All right.
Let's see what we have.
must be something here.
The history of the Grey Wardens is fascinating. Excellent.
dispatch for you.
What is it?
See for yourself, sir.
We should search the area.
Good find. I think the Inquisition could benefit from this. I think the Inquisition could benefit from this.
Nothing to report, sir.
Good find.
Urchin, bring me a moist towelette.
quite well.
Oh, make her hear my cry. Seat me by your side.
I will take these injury reports to research in the nave.
Let's see what we have.
We don't have the manpower to take the castle. Either we find another way in, or give up this nonsense and go and get the Templars.
Redcliffe is in the hands of a Magister. This cannot be allowed to stand.
The letter from Alexius asked for the Herald of Andraste by name. It's an obvious trap.
So we've heard from Magister Alexius. I expected as much.
And yet some of us want to sit and do nothing.
Not this again.
Redcliffe Castle is one of the most defensible fortresses in Ferelden. It has repelled thousands of assaults. If you go in there, you'll die. And we'll lose the only means we have of closing these rifts. I won't allow it.
And if we don't even try to meet Alexius, we lose the mages and leave a hostile foreign power on our doorstep.
Even if we could assault the keep, it would be for naught. An Orlesian Inquisition's army marching into Ferelden would provoke a war. Our hands are tied.
The Magister
has outplayed us. We can't just give up. There has to be something we can do.
We cannot accept defeat now. There must be a solution.
Where is the Jarl of Redcliffe? I'm sure he'd help us get his castle back.
After he was displaced, Arl Tegan rode straight for Dunrim to petition the Crown for help. I doubt he'll want our assistance once the Ferelden army lays siege to his castle.
Wait. There is a secret passage into the castle, an escape route for the family. It's too narrow for our troops, but we could send agents through.
Too risky. Those agents will be discovered well before they reach the Magister.
That's why we need a distraction. Perhaps the envoy Alexius wants so badly.
Focus their attention on Trevelyan, while we take out the Tevinters. It's risky, but it could work.
Fortunately, you'll have help.
This man says he has information about the Magister and his methods, Commander.
Your spies will never get past Alexius's magic without my help. So if you're going after him, I'm coming along.
The plan puts you in the most danger. We can't in good conscience order you to do this. We can still go after the Templars if you'd rather not play the bait. It's up to you.
Announce us.
The Magister's invitation was for Master Trevelyan alone. The others must wait here.
They have to accompany me. You wouldn't deprive me of my attachés, would you?
My Lord Magister, the agents of the Inquisition have arrived.
My friend, it's so good to see you again. And your associates, of course. I'm sure we can work out some arrangement that is equitable to all parties.
Are we mages to have no voice in deciding our fate?
Fiona, you would not have turned your followers over to my care if you did not trust me with their lives.
If the Grand Enchanter wants to be part of these talks, then I welcome her as a guest of the Inquisition.
Thank you.
The Inquisition needs mages to close the breach, and I have them. So, what shall you offer in exchange?
The Inquisition has many backers among the Orlesian nobility. I'm sure we can find suitable compensation.
I'm not sure what the Orlesian nobility have to offer that I don't already possess.
He knows everything, Father.
Felix, what have you done?
You wanted me here. Why?
Do you know what you are? You walk into my stronghold with your stolen mark, a gift you don't even understand, and think you're in control. You're nothing but a mistake.
What do you know about the Divine's death?
It was the Elder One's moment, and you were unworthy even to stand in his presence.
Father, listen to yourself. Do you know what you sound like?
He sounds exactly like the sort of villainous cliché everyone expects us to be.
Dorian, I gave you a chance to be a part of this. You turned me down. The Elder One has power you would not believe. He will raise the Imperium from its own ashes.
That's who you serve. The one who killed the Divine. Is he a mage?
Soon, he will become a god. He will make the world bow to mages once more. We will rule from the Boric Ocean to the frozen seas.
You can't involve my people in this.
Alexius, this is exactly what you and I talked about never wanting to happen. Why would you support this?
Stop it, Father. Give up the Venatori. Let the Southern Mages fight the breach, and let's go home.
No. It's the only way, Felix. He can save you.
Save me?
There is a way. The Elder One promised, if I undo the mistake at the temple.
I'm going to die. You need to accept that.
Seize them, Venatori. The Elder One demands this man's life.
Your men are dead, Alexius.
You are a mistake. You should never have existed.
Blood of the Elder One. Where'd they come from?
Displacement. Interesting. It's probably not what Alexius intended. The rift must have moved us to what? The closest confluence of arcane energy?
The last thing I remember, we were in the castle hall.
Let's see. If we're still in the castle, it isn't. Oh, of course, it's not simply where, it's when! Alexius used the amulet as a focus. It moved us through time.
That doesn't sound good.
It sounds terrible. Depending on when we are and what happened while we were away. Let's look around, see where the rift took us. Then we can figure out how to get back. If we can.
What was Alexius trying to do?
I believe his original plan was to remove you from time completely. If that happened, you would never have been at the Temple of Sacred Ashes or mangled his Elder One's plan. I think your surprise in the castle hall made him reckless. He tossed us into the rift before he was ready. I counted it. The magic went wild, and here we are. Make sense?
It just seems so insane.
I don't even want to think about what this will do to the fabric of the world. We didn't travel through time so much as punch a hole through it and toss it into the privy. But don't worry. I'm here. I'll protect you.
There were others in the hall. Could they have been drawn through the rift?
I doubt it was large enough to bring the whole room through. Alexius wouldn't risk catching himself or Felix in it. They're probably still where and when we left them. In some sense, anyway.
Alexius mentioned an Elder One in the hall. Do you know who he was talking about?
Leader of the Venatori, I suspect. Some magister aspiring to godhood. It's the same old tune. Let's play with magic we don't understand. It will make us incredibly powerful. Evidently, it doesn't matter if you rip apart the fabric of time in the process.
What happens if we can't get back?
Then we get comfortable in our new present. Alexius has made a dreadful mess of this place, hasn't he?
I didn't see this part of the castle.
It was covered in the tackiest carvings of wolves and dogs I'd ever seen. This is not an improvement.
Andraste blessed me, Andraste blessed me. My tears are my sins, my sins, my sins. Andraste guide me, Andraste guide me.
What did they do to you?
Andraste blessed me, Andraste blessed me.
Alive. I saw you disappear into the rift.
What is the date? I need to know how much time has passed.
Harvest Mir. 942 Dragon.
942? Then we've missed an entire year.
I must have missed out on a lot during that year.
You must beware. Alexius serves the Elder One, more powerful than the Maker. No one challenges him and lives.
That Magister's going to regret he didn't just kill me.
Our only hope is to find the amulet that Alexius used to send us here. If it still exists, I can use it to reopen the rift at the exact spot we left. Maybe.
Good.
I said, maybe. It might also turn us into paste.
You must try. Your spy master, Leliana. She is here. Find her. Quickly. Before the Elder One learns you're here.
Red lyrium is an infection. Maker, why is it coming out of the walls?
Are you sure you want to find out?
Andraste's sacred knickers. You're alive. Where were you? How did you escape?
We didn't escape. Alexius sent us into the future.
Everything that happens to you is weird.
You don't look so good, Varric. What happened?
Bite your tongue. I look damn good for a dead man.
You're no more dead than we are.
The not dying version of this red lyrium stuff? Way worse. Just saying.
We get to Alexius, and I just might be able to send us back to our own time. Simple, really.
That may not be as easy as you think. Alexius is just a servant. His Elder One assassinated the Empress and led a demon army in a huge invasion of the South. The Elder One rules everything. What's left of it, anyway. Alexius is really not the one you need to worry about.
Then I look forward to meeting Alexius's master.
Be careful what you wish for. You want to take on Alexius? I'm in. Let's go.
The light shall lead her safely through the paths of this world and into the next. For she who trusts in the Maker, fire is her water. You've returned to us. Can it be? Has Andraste given us another chance? Maker, forgive me. I failed you. I failed everyone. The end must truly be upon us if the dead return to life.
I'm not back from the dead, Cassandra. I just got... Well, this is hard to explain.
I was there. The Magister obliterated you with a gesture.
Alexius sent us forward in time. If we find him, we may be able to return to the present.
Go back in time? Then, can you make it so that none of this ever took place?
That's my hope.
None of this will happen. Andraste, please let that be true. Alexius locked himself in the throne room. That is where we'll find him. Have mercy on their souls.
Well, the gang's all back together. What could go wrong now? Take a look around. See if there's anything we can use.
May she find peace at the Maker's side.
How did Trevelyan know of the sacrifice at the temple? Answer!
No.
You will break.
I will die first. Or you will. You're alive.
Well, that was impressive.
Anger is stronger than any pain. Do you have weapons? Good. The Magister's probably in his chambers.
You aren't curious how we got here?
No.
Alexius sent us into the future. This, his victory, his Elder One, it was never meant to be.
I'm so sorry for everything you suffered.
We have to reverse his spell. If we can get back to our present time, we can prevent this future from ever happening.
And mages always wonder why people fear them. No one should have this power.
It's dangerous and unpredictable. Before the breach, nothing we did.
Enough. This is all pretend to you. Some future you hope will never exist. I suffered. The whole world suffered. It was real.
What happened while we were away?
Stop talking.
I'm just asking for information.
No, you're talking to fill silence. Nothing happened that you want to hear.
We need to find Alexius. I'm sure he'll be in the nicer part of the castle, if there is one.
The Magister needs more power for his rituals.
No!
Come forth and serve the Elder One.
This is madness. Alexius can't have wanted this. The breach! It's everywhere.
Used to be, it was only dwarves who were afraid of the sky. Now, it's just good.
not a child! No!
Connor! It was an act of courage. He knew there was no other way to resist. He resisted that demon to the last. What became of Felix? Do you know?
Yes, I know.
And you're not going to tell me?
You'll find out soon enough.
Got to love what Alexius has done with the place.
Are they praying? It's trying to take them by surprise.
Stay away! It's trapped!
Doesn't look like the Elder One is interested in saving his followers. damage did Alexius' spell do?
Rifts tore apart all of southern Thedas, starting here. But whether that's his doing or the breach, who can say?
What in Andraste's name is that? Hold on to it. I want to look at it later.
Andraste have mercy on your souls. No one else will.
Happened here?
Somebody had very questionable taste. shelter quickly.
Block them from coming up the stairs!
I could really go for some light reading. Breath, where did Alexius find this? How did he even move it here?
Can we open it?
Perhaps. But it looks quite strong. How desperate and paranoid must he be? His servants must have a way through. He has to eat. Let's look around. Let's head back to the main hall. I think I know how we'll open that door.
It's over, Alexius.
So it is. I knew you would appear again. Not that it would be now, but I knew I hadn't destroyed you. My final failure.
Was it worth it? Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
It doesn't matter now. All we can do is wait for the end.
It does matter. I will undo this.
How many times have I tried? The past cannot be undone. All that I fought for, all that I betrayed, and what have I wrought? Ruin and death, that is nothing else. The Elder One comes for me, for you, for us all. Felix.
That's Felix. Maker's breath, Alexius, what have you done?
He would have died, Dorian. I saved him. Please, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything you ask.
Hand over the amulet and we let him go.
Let him go and I swear you'll get what you want.
I want the world back.
No.
No! wanted to die, didn't he? All those lies he told himself, the justifications. He lost Felix long ago. Didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius.
This Alexius was too far gone. The Alexius in our time might still be reasoned with.
I suppose that's true. This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift.
An hour? That's impossible! You must go now! The Elder One.
You'll have to hurry. This is bad. We'll hold the main door. Once they break through, it's all you, Nightingale.
We'll make this count.
The only way we live is if this day never comes. Cast your spell. You have as much time as I have arrows. Though darkness closes, I am shielded by flame. Andraste, guide me. Maker, take me to your side.
You move, and we all die!
You'll have to do better than that.
You failed, Alexius. How forgiving is your Elder One?
You won. There is no point extending this charade. Felix.
It's going to be all right, Father.
You'll die.
Everyone dies.
Well, I'm glad that's over with. Or not.
Grand Enchanter, we'd like to discuss your abuse of our hospitality.
Your Majesties.
When we offered the Mage's Sanctuary, we did not give them the right to drive our people from their homes.
King Alistair, Queen Anora, I assure you, we never intended...
In light of your actions, good intentions are no longer enough.
You and your followers have worn out your welcome. Leave Ferelden, or we'll be forced to make you leave.
But we have hundreds who need protection. Where will we go?
The Inquisition might be willing to take in the mages.
And what are the terms of this arrangement?
Hopefully better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that, yes?
I know you are a mage, but consider how these rebels have acted. They must be conscripted, not coddled.
I've known a lot of mages. They can be loyal friends if you let them. Friends who make bad decisions, but still loyal.
It seems we have little choice but to accept whatever you offer.
We would be honored To have you fight as allies at the Inquisition's side.
We'll discuss this later.
I'll pray that the rest of the Inquisition honors your promise then.
The breach threatens all of Thedas. We cannot afford to be divided now. We can't fight it without you. Any chance of success requires your full support.
It's a generous offer. I doubt you're going to get a better one from us.
We accept. It would be madness not to. I will gather my people and ready them for the journey to Haven. The breach will be closed. You will not regret giving us this chance.